saying financially I'm struggling, okay, so that's something that I have shame around. That's something that I have, you get what I'm saying, an uncomfortable feeling. Well, I need to start reading books about financial literacy because obviously you're financially illiterate. Like the whole idea behind it is that you need to pinpoint where in your life you feel the most uncomfort. Where do you in your life do you feel like you're lacking the most? Put that in your face so you can constantly see it, and then use that as a direction, a compass to figuring out what do I need to do? Where's my motivation? Going back to the source. Where's the source of this thing coming from? And then you are struggling with motivation. You feel like when you start things, you often quit it. In the beginning, you start strong, but then eventually your motivation dies out and you can't do it anymore. So in this video, I'm going to break down to you how to honestly keep motivation and how to find out where your motivation really comes from so you can use it when necessary. So the first one I want to talk about is finding your source of motivation. Motivation has to come from somewhere, and you have to make sure it's coming from the correct place. So the first one I always talk about is emotion in a lot of my videos because emotion is very imperative. What is your emotional tie to this thing that you are trying to do? An example can be working out, right? If the reason why you're working out is to get back at your ex-boyfriend, then that is a motivational tie that can be strong, don't get me wrong, but it's something that cannot be sustained over time. It's very similar to the people who say they're working out because they want to look good for their birthday. It's something that can be strong when it keeps you going, but the problem is eventually that thing is supposed to get over itself, right? That thing is supposed to be done. Essentially, aren't you eventually supposed to move on and find someone else new? Isn't your birthday eventually supposed to pass? A lot of people do it with the new year too. It's a new year. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. Eventually, that new year is going to be the year, and that motivation that you have is going to pass. So it is good to use. It can be good to use, I should say, in the beginning of starting something, but you need to dig deeper. Your emotional tie to working out can be something such as my family deals with certain health concerns and it took my grandma away from us too soon, or my cousin dealt with this, or someone I know dealt with something. So in a sense, you have an emotional tie to keep doing that thing. If your reason for starting this business is because, oh, I want to drive the car to, show people that I really have money, all the people that ever talked about me, you might get that thing, or probably you won't. But if your emotional tie is, I want to start this business because I want to help my mom pay her bills. I want to start this business because my family's struggling and I got to get us out of that situation. Which one do you think is going to hold on longer? The person who want to flex the people just to get a car, or the person that's trying to get their family out of a tight predicament? And I think that's what you have to do with anything that you want to do in life. If you tell yourself you have to do something, you're searching for the motivation, you should already have it inside of you. You just have to find it. Now, going off of sourcing it and finding it, you also have to realize you are not a robot. There are times where you're going to have more energy, more motivation to do things, and times where you're going to have less. And so I always say schedules are perfect to create, but you have to start curating these things inside of your schedule, essentially. So what does that mean? That means that, hey, maybe working out after getting off of work isn't the best for me. Hey, maybe trying to post content on my lunch break isn't the best for me. Hey, maybe trying to read a book, 20 minutes that I have inside of my car before I go to work isn't the best for me. That's another thing people have to do. Like throughout your day, pay attention to when you have the most energy, because when you are starting something new, that is when you want to do it. Do not be like, oh, well, all my coworkers do it at this time. All the people on social media said they do that at that time. When you are starting something new, start with your energy high points. Start with the times that you have the most energy, because you're going to be able to have the most willpower. You're going to have to force yourself to do it. After a certain amount of time, yes. And that certain amount of time may be a day, it may be a week, it might be 2 weeks. But when that motivation starts dying out, you are going to be able to push yourself to do it more when you are doing it in the times when you have the most energy. When you've had a long day, you don't understand. Your body depletes mentally and physically. So you're trying to do everything after work. You're trying to do everything after class, after you use all your brain power, after you use all your physical strength, and then you're wondering why you can't do something. Well, I'm not motivated enough. No, you just need to figure out what are your top energy sources, and then that's the time where you're going to do the new things, because you're going to have a better ability to actually complete them, right? Who do you think is going to be a better fighter? The person who has no energy or the person who has the most energy? Another one that you have to do is you have to align your motivations with the kind of individual that you truly are. There could be two individuals going through a situation, right? They're both possibly struggling to pay their rent. They're both possibly struggling to just stay afloat. Now, there's one individual that's like, okay, I'm gonna wake up every single day early in the morning. I'm going to work out. I'm gonna look into starting this business. Well, there's another individual that wakes up right before it's time to go to work. During their free time, they watch TV. During their free time, they wanna be on their phone because they have two different identities. One individual is like, it doesn't matter what's going on with me right now. I'm just this kind of person. That's just what I do. I can have $10 in my bank account. I can have $10,000. I can have $10 million. I'm going to wake up early. I'm the kind of person that wakes up early. I'm going to work out. I'm the kind of person that works out. While there's some individuals that do things, their motivation arises from their situation, right? If I'm doing good, then I'll wake up early. If I'm doing good. And so I think a lot of times too, people have to ask themselves, are you not doing something simply because that's just not your identity? You're just not the kind of person that does that thing. And that means that you need to have an identity shift, and you need to essentially shift your identity. But a lot of times too, I think a lot of people don't understand their identity. You are not doing that thing, not because you can't do that thing, but it's because you're only doing that thing to achieve something else, which means that's not your identity. You're just trying to achieve something, which every so often is good. I'm not saying every single thing you try to achieve in life you have to tie to your identity, but if you really want to achieve something and you can't achieve it, or if it's not working out for you and you keep trying, a lot of times you have to ask yourself, do I even have the necessary habits? Am I even the person that would achieve this kind of thing? And another thing that messes up a lot of people when it comes to aligning themselves is your ego. A lot of people don't realize you have a big ego, and that's why you haven't achieved things. I want you to understand, you have to start at the bottom before you make it to the top. A lot of people tell themselves, well, I want to get my body together, and I want to start going to the gym, and I want to start doing weights. And the first day they get to the gym, after not being there for 5 to 10 business months, they want to go to the 10-pound weights, the 15-pound weights, the 20-pound weights. Do you even really know how to do that workout? You saw 2 girls on TikTok instruct you how to do that workout, and now you think you can do it and you want to use these heavy weights. You literally want to go there and do your max. And I think a lot of times people motivation dies out because you cannot start at your max. In life, you cannot. And honestly, you shouldn't want to. You shouldn't want to start at something and be like, this is where I want to end up. I think too many people do things thinking this is where they want to end up. And so they have this mindset that this is what I have to go after, and this is what I have to achieve, and this is what I have to achieve. Instead of saying, you know what, the first week I go to the gym, I'm not even going to use no weights the first week because I really want to get my form down. And then the next week I go to the gym, I'm going to do the 5-pound weights because I want to do something light. I want to really learn how to do it. A lot of people don't realize your motivation dies out because your ego. You assume that you should be able to achieve something. You assume that you should be able to start and hit the ground running. You assume as soon as you post, you should get 1,000 followers. You assume all these things. As soon as you work out, your body should be different in a week because you have an ego and you are not willing to start at the bottom. And so yes, your motivation is going to die out because you have this mindset that you have to do everything so hard and you have to do everything, at top strength and at top max when you don't even know how to do half the things that you start correctly. And so I think a lot of people have to realize that ego, you feel like you're too good to start at 0. You're too good to not see results. You're too good. My content is too good. Why nobody liking it? That's your problem, and that's why your motivation dies out. And you tell yourself, oh, I stopped posting because nobody watching my videos, and I stopped going to the gym because I didn't see a difference. No, you stopped because that ego caught you up, and you were embarrassed of being a beginner. The next thing that you have to do is figure out your motivation blockers. What's blocking your motivation every time you try to use it? One of the things I want you to do is be honest with yourself and really sit down and ask yourself, whether it's big, whether it's small, whether it's you sending out that email, whether it's you texting that person, or whether it's you starting that business or you posting that content or going to the gym. Why have you not done that thing yet? And I think it's a question that sometimes is going to get deep. It's a question that on the surface of it, it's so easy to say, well, I don't have the time to. Well, this came up. Well, that came up. But I think if it's something that you say you really want to achieve, if it's something that you say that you really want to do, I want you to sit down with yourself and really ask yourself, why though? Like if we're being complete, because I had to realize that for myself. It's so easy on the surface to make excuses of, oh, I'm so busy and I'm so this and I'm so that. But then sometimes I realized it tied into my identity of who I was. There were some times, especially when it came to content, I didn't want to post certain kind of content because I didn't think I was worthy enough to post that kind of content. Like when it comes to the whole self-growth and the whole I've talked about my journey a little bit on my page, but I first started posting content just telling people how to grow on social media. I felt like I didn't have enough accreditation. I didn't know enough information. I wasn't enough simply to post content about telling people how to grow and how to build confidence and how to do all these things. And it was a conversation I had to have with myself of, okay, so why do you feel this way? And what do you think the people who do this stuff had that you don't? And it goes down a hill. But sometimes it can be going back to the energy. Maybe you just do the things the wrong time of the day. You get what I'm saying? And you don't have energy. But whatever it is, I think one of the first things I want you to do is have a conversation with yourself of why you have not done that thing. What about you has made it hard for you to achieve that thing? Every time you try to do that thing, what is the thing that stops you? It's going to be easy to say, oh, I missed one day at the gym and I don't go back. Or I missed this day and I don't post again. Yeah, that's the surface. That's the top. But I need you to dig deeper and ask yourself, even if you do miss a day, even if your one video does do bad, even if, why do you not keep going? And going with motivation blockers as well, another thing that a lot of people do is you have to, like I said, tying emotion. You have to tie the real emotion to the action when you are doing it. Because a lot of times too, there's a mismatch of emotions that are happening during the action of doing something and then what you tell yourself. So the problem is what you tell yourself is, oh, when I go to the gym, I'm gonna be great. And when I go to the gym, I'm gonna have so much energy and I'm gonna da-da-da-da. And you get to the gym and you're tired. You get to the gym and you're exhausted. You tell yourself, when I start posting on social media, it's gonna be great. All my content gonna do good. All my videos gonna hit 10 plus views and all this other stuff. And then when it actually happens, that does not happen for you and you lose motivation. I'm not telling you to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not telling you to be somebody that's always like, it's never going to work out for me and it's never going to, but I'm telling you to be honest with yourself about the situation. I've said this before on my page, but before I go to the gym, forget the gym. Before recording this video, I don't think y'all understand how much I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I love y'all so much. I did not want to record this video. I like organizing the videos. I like, I guess you could say, researching content and all this other stuff. I don't like doing my hair. I don't like doing my makeup. I don't like all the extraness. I really don't like those things. But what did I tell myself this morning? I said, Shamaya, I felt so tired this morning. Like my body literally felt exhausted. But I knew my body did that on purpose because it knew I didn't want to do it and it wanted to give me an excuse to not do it. So I told myself, Shamaya, you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel exhausted. And honestly, if that doesn't work, you might get a little bit of a headache just so you don't post, just so you don't record. But you know what you are going to do? You are going to record that content. You're not going to feel like doing it when you're doing your makeup. But you're going to do that thing. And that for me gave me the necessary motivation to do it, because when you're in that feeling, it's like, yeah, I don't really like this, but I knew this was going to happen. Like, you thought you got me. But I got it. And I think that's a lot of people have to do. You have to make sure you tie the real emotion to the real action when you are doing it. And to make sure that your motivation is honestly sustainable, you have to make sure you have action-based motivation. Another thing that I think people don't understand is your motivation has to be something that you can control. It is your motivation. So if your motivation to go to the gym is to lose 10 pounds, that is not something that you can control. If your motivation to post on social media is to make $10,000, that's not something that you can control. First and foremost, who knows how long that's going to take? Second of all, it's something that is out of your control. And I think one thing too, we don't realize, a lot of people stay stagnant in life and they don't do things in life to simply stay in control. And I want you to understand, if you think that your motivation is going to come from you getting a certain amount of followers, you think your motivation is going to come from you losing a certain amount of weight, it's not going to be sustainable. It's going to die off eventually. Kind of going back to what I talked about as working your way up, because first and foremost, that's not going to happen out of the gate. Second of all, it's a thing of, once you achieve that thing, are you going to be done? Like once you achieve, if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, what is going to happen after you lose 10 pounds? Do you think you're going to keep going? But that was your goal. So now you have to give yourself a bigger goal. Now you have to, so is that going to change your workout? Like what is that actually going to look like? Because you changed the goal. Instead, if you tell yourself, I'm working out 3 times a week, that's my goal. Your goal needs to be based on the action. I'm posting 7 times a week on TikTok. That's what you actually can control. And that's how you make sure your motivation doesn't fluctuate. A lot of people motivation fluctuate because your motivation is based upon something that fluctuates. I can tell y'all right now, there's some videos I get 10,000 views on, there's some videos I get 1,000 views on. And if my motivation is based upon how many views I get, y'all would not get as much content as I give. But you know what my motivation is? Me telling myself I'm posting 3 videos a week on here, posting 1 video a week on my podcast. That is where my motivation comes from. So that does not fluctuate because that's something that stays the same. Yes, sometimes I have to change things up and adjust things because there's different goals in my life that may change, yes. But at the same time, I try to make sure as much as possible, my motivation comes from action. There's things that I can physically or specifically, I should say, do that is where my motivation comes from. So it's not just like, oh, I might have motivation this week, I might not. No, did I complete a task or did I not? There shouldn't be an in-between. The next one is we need to bring back shame. Yes, we need to bring back shame. I'm just gonna say it. You need to start having shame around doing certain things because it is so easy to avoid it. It's so easy for us to avoid uncomfortable feelings. It's so easy for you to have an uncomfortable feeling about your bank account but not look at it. It's so easy for you to have an uncomfortable feeling about your body and not look at it and not avoid it. It's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. And then when that thing starts to get into a horrible situation, when that thing starts to get into a dire situation, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to get my body together because my doctor told me this. Oh my gosh, rent is coming up and I don't have enough money to pay for it. It's because for so long you were avoiding that thing because you were ashamed of that thing instead of putting that thing in your face. This sounds like a lot, but listen, if you really want to get that body together, take a picture of yourself in a sports bra and some underwear or some shorts and make that your, it don't gotta be your lock screen. If you really bold, make it your lock screen. Make it your home screen. So you have to look at your body. The same thing. Every week, take a screenshot of your bank account and make that your home screen as well. Like, and there's all different things you could do. I'm not a shame coach. I can't give every single tip, but start doing things. Listen, you better blow up a picture and put it on your wall of how your body look. Like in a sense of you need to start putting it in your face. Things that you want to do in life, things that you are missing in life, start putting it in your face and making yourself feel like, dang, this is really what I'm going through. Dang, this is really what you get what I'm saying? Even if it is a thing of you putting your goals, your dreams, aspirations, you writing it down, you blowing it up on a canvas or something like that and putting it on your wall. So every single time you go out and you decide to get drinks instead of investing inside of that business, every single time you go out and have fun instead of doing the things that you say you want to do, you can see it. You can see it on your wall. You can see it in your face. Put people that matter to you. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe you want to help your mom in a situation. Maybe you want to help your siblings. Put their picture and then put what they're going through on that wall. And I know for some people, it's like, that's a lot. Sometimes it's what you need to get that emotion out, to make you realize, what do I really care about? And going off of that, sometimes, a lot of times, that actually will help give you direction. A lot of times, too, people's motivation die out because you're using your motivation based upon what other people say. It's the beginning of the year. Everybody does the 75 hard. You do the winter art. You do all these things. That doesn't mean that's particularly what you need to do for your life. But if there's something that you feel shame about, if there's something that you really, that thing really brings out an emotion and a feeling inside of you, then that's what you need to work on. So if you're saying financially I'm struggling, okay, so that's something that I have shame around. That's something that I have, you get what I'm saying, an uncomfortable feeling. Well, I need to start reading books about financial literacy because obviously you're financially illiterate. Like the whole idea behind it is that you need to pinpoint where in your life you feel the most uncomfort. Where do you in your life do you feel like you're lacking the most? Put that in your face so you can constantly see it, and then use that as a direction, a compass to figuring out, what do I need to do? Where's my motivation? Going back to the source. Where's the source of this thing coming from? And then what are the next steps I need to do to achieve this goal, or to getting closer to this goal of making this thing no longer feel like a shame? Now, a challenge I want you guys to do, I would appreciate it if you guys would do it. I always tell y'all, if you can't start today, don't tell yourself you're going to start tomorrow. Don't tell yourself you're going to start the next day. When it comes to motivation, it has to be something you can start. So if you guys would like to participate, I would love that. Under the video, comment one thing that you are going to be doing every single day. Whether it's a 10-minute workout, whether it's reading 10 pages of a book, whether it's 5 push-ups, what are you going to be doing? It can be small. Like I said, doing 5 push-ups is not something that's like, oh my gosh, I have to go out and start a business. Comment below what is something that you are going to be doing starting today. And then I want you to Also comment on someone else's. I don't care if you see this video a year later, a month later, 2 weeks later, the later the better. Comment under somebody else's, kind of like, how's it going? Or are you still sticking with it? Or something to that extent. The reason why I want you to do it is, first and foremost, it makes you accountable because you commented below what you said you were going to do. But then I think the longer it is, the better it is for you. Because think about this, it's a year later. Somebody comments under what you said you were going to do. There's two ways you can feel. You can look at that comment and be like, dang, what if I would have just started doing 5 push-ups a day? Where would I be now? Dang, what if I would have just started reading 10 pages a day? Where I would be now? Or you can look at the comment a year later and say, dang, I'm so glad I started doing them push-ups. Dang, I'm so glad I started reading that book. The option is up to you, but I would really appreciate if y'all would comment that. I feel like that's something that would be interactive and kind of nice, just to help everyone connect and kind of just have a little bit of accountability when it comes to motivation. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. I appreciate y'all so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And also don't forget to go below in the show notes to sign up for my newsletter, and also to see the link to my podcast, because I come out with new episodes for that every single Saturday. It's on YouTube, it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that. So thank you all and have a great one.